let's open up the March 6, 2024 Town of Charlton Water Sewer Commission. Commissioners Public Forum. Anybody here from the public that would like to speak? All right, hearing none, moving on to warrants, minutes, and abatements.
All right, could I have a motion to approve the minutes of February 7th, 2024?
I'll make a motion as printed.
I'll second.
Any
All right.
discussion? Hearing none, go ahead, roll call vote, please, Sue.
Mr. McLam,
Aye.
Mr. Jennings,
Aye.
Mr. Cantwell.
Aye.
All right, motion to approve the warrants in the amount of $116,780.16.
I'll make a motion. We accept those as printed.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please, Sue.
Mr. McLam,
Aye.
Mr. Jennings,
Aye.
Mr. Cantwell.
Aye.
Great. Vinny, you're up.
Thanks, Vinny. Great MOR.
Yeah, good, Vinny. Moving on.
All right. I'm gonna be covering the monthly operating report for January 2024. The plant was staffed by myself, Grant Krisiak, Zach Campbell, and Amy Nassis. In January, we completed the monthly inspection, and we also did the Veolia's annual global report. Health and safety, the team participated in NUIPIC's introduction to municipal wastewater training. Compliance, there were no exceedances to report. The DMR was entered into the CDX on February 12th. We completed the tier 2 and submitted that to CERC. And we also submitted our OSHA 300 log and posted it. Operations and maintenance for the month. The team prepped for a big storm. We had Flight come in and bring us a 6-inch trash pump. They delivered 2 of them. That's required by them as a redundancy. And using that trash pump, because of all the down DQ pumps, the plant couldn't handle that kind of flow, so we had to bypass some of the processes. And when we bypassed those processes, it triggered a public notification. So that was our SSO in the month. The team rebuilt one of the EQ pumps and we had LaFleur Electric wire it back in. LaFleur Electric was also out another day to install a VFD for the big ceiling fans in the plant. On the 16th, we got a snowstorm. The team plowed and shoveled. Comag train 2 to magnetite recovery drum had split open at the seam and the gear drive went bad. So we put Comag train 1, we replaced the gear drive on that and put that system back online. We installed new salt bridges on several pH probes and calibrated them. We kind of fought with pH probes a lot in January, but they're all straightened out now. We had LaFleur Electric in on another day to troubleshoot the EQ pumps. We had several VFDs throwing fault codes. We performed RBC proficiency testing several times throughout the month, trying to balance the loading to the RBCs. The RBC pipes, we scraped a lot of them and repainted them. They're looking really good right now. We made splash guards so there wouldn't be any spray on the pipes, so hopefully they stay clean and fresh looking for a long time. We brought the town's green utility truck in for its first oil change. On the 3rd and the 22nd, we collected the MTA samples. We also performed the first quarter water meter readings. And then we went out to do the rereads and we repaired trouble meters. Pump station activities, we completed the pump station rounds and testing as required. Vine Street, the hatch was broken. So we put some new hinges on and put some extra support in the hatch. We also brought the aerators out to Vine Street and 6 West so LaFleur could get ready to wire them in. We hauled 4 loads of sludge for the month to Cranston. The only chemicals we had delivered in January was 4 totes of caustic, and there were no grinder pump calls. So now I'm going to share my screen. And I have a little slideshow. Can you guys see this? Oh, hold on. Can you see the slideshow now?
Yep.
Okay. So I've mentioned it in several meetings that I was looking into different resources for handling our corrosive chemicals. And it turned out to be a pretty deep wormhole I dove into. At first I was like, we'll just get this storage container and be done with it. And then I was like, well, we could probably get a better deal doing it with Connexes, and Pete had already ordered us one. And then I started thinking, why don't we just go to soda ash? So I just want to lay it all out, show you guys what I've researched, and leave it in your hands. So the first one is a prefabricated. It holds 4 totes. And the second option there would be get an additional Connex and build it out to be in compliance. Then the other option is soda ash, and we'd need equipment. So in this slide, this is the storage container that would hold 4 totes of caustic. And then again, we just kind of itemize what we would need to do to build out the Connexes. We'd need another Connex. We'd have to have them spray foamed. We'd need appropriate spill containment. They would need heaters and all the electrical. The prefabricated one needs the electrical, and it would need some pretty extensive site work to make it sit nice here. Here's the prices as I've researched. The prefabricated one is about 70,000 just to buy the storage. The Connexes, it was 4,000 just for the Connex. We got 2 different quotes for spray foaming. One of them's 5,500, the other one's about 1,500. The spill containments are about 1,650 a piece. I looked up just online some Dayton heaters. They're about $630 each, and we'd still need the electrical no matter which way we go. Then here's the soda ash feeder. It's about $9,000. It would take dry powdered soda ash, mix it to a slurry, and we would pump it through our current system. Then here's just a couple more flags kind of showing it a little easier. So the first one is the 4 totes corrosive storage for 70,000. The next one is the Connexes, starting at about 10, probably a little over 15 at the end of setting that up. And then the soda ash feeder, just the feeder alone is 9,200. This is just breaking it all down again. The caustic to soda ash. This is the cost per chemical. So currently caustic cost us 27 cents per pound. Our annual average is $4,000. Our current price of soda ash, we just got a new vendor. It's 36 cents a pound. And currently we're spending 5,500. If we replace the caustic with soda ash, we'd still pay the 36 cents per pound. But it would, if you add the first 2 totals together, it's not quite what the third is. So it would cost more to use soda ash. It's a safer alternative, but I just kind of wanted to show you guys the research I was doing here. Really, you could go any way. You could buy the $70,000 containment and just be done with all the issues of compliance. We could piecemeal it with the Connexes, or we could add the soda ash. The soda ash is cheaper up front, but operationally it's going to cost a little more every year. So I have that slideshow and the research available if you guys have any more questions.
Thanks
Vinny,
for all
this
your
is
work
not
on
the
this,
men-
Vinny. If I personally would like to just review this and throw it on the next meeting for another discussion. You guys wouldn't mind.
Oh yeah, that's fine. We had talked about it a few times while Peter was here, and I just wanted to follow through on it. So
Thank you, Vinny. Let's actually put that on the agenda for April, Sue. And anything else, Vinny?
no, that's it for me.
Vinny, do you want to introduce
Fantastic.
Mike or?
Yeah, so while everybody's on here, everybody knows David Connors. He's my vice president from Veolia. And Mr. Mike Burke had joined us earlier. He is my new vice president from Veolia.
Yeah, so just to kind of give you a little background, we had done an exercise at the beginning of the year with the portfolios of each of the VPs. Mike lives in Massachusetts. I'll give him a minute to introduce himself. He's closer to the project and has a extensive background in wastewater, so you guys will be well served with Mike here. But I'll let him introduce himself and just say that it's been a pleasure working with all of you guys. And you know, if there's any comments or questions, I'm here to answer it. But Mike, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, my name's Mike Burke, VP of Operations in New England. All my projects are in Massachusetts, except for one that's in Smuggler's Notch, Vermont. So that's thanks for that one. I live in Ludlow, Massachusetts. I've been in the business for just over 30 years, with half my career in the municipal side and half in contract ops. Formerly employed by Suez. Started working for Veolia in 22 after the merger, and like Dave said, most of my experience is in wastewater operations and a little bit of, well, I shouldn't say a little bit of water, but 50-50 at this point, water and wastewater. But looking forward to working with you, and I'll send my contact information out so everybody has it, and then you feel free to pass it on if you want.
And I'll obviously still be here to
Yeah.
support Mike and you know, if any with the transition as well. So
Welcome aboard, Mike. We got a pretty good team here in Charlton. Vinny does a stand-up job for us. So he should make your job easy.
Thanks.
And Dave, thank you very much, Dave, for all your help over the last few months here.
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, definitely reiterating on what David said. Just Vinny's doing a phenomenal job, and we're pleased to have him. And I think that's our biggest ask for you guys is keep Vinny's boots on the ground in Charlton here with us.
Yeah.
Will do. That's good to hear. Thanks.
All right, moving on. The 6:45 appointment with Dan Prouty. We're going to slate that discussion for the Central Depot Road sewer connection for the future. So we're going to move on to 6:50. Peter Newton. I'm assuming you're on the line. So is Peter Newton on the line?
He was just like, oh, there he is. We can't hear you, Peter. Now you're muted. Now you're unmuted. Can't hear you. Can anyone else hear him? Is it just me?
No, I can't hear him either.
Okay, good.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. I just had to
Hi,
unplug.
Peter.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So Peter's going to give us kind of a quick update on the Bay Path Road land that we're looking to purchase. Peter's been involved in drilling the wells and having the water tested over there. So Peter, why don't you go ahead with that information?
Right. So thank you for having me tonight. So as you know, we drilled the well back in June of 2023. I got to be perfectly honest with you. I knew there was a big fracture over there, but I wasn't optimistic we were going to encounter a good yielding well. So to our surprise, the initial rating on the drilling, we hit a large fracture at 311 feet. It was over 200 gallons a minute. Unfortunately, preliminary water quality data taken in June was generally pretty good, except it had arsenic at 0.023 and the standard is 0.010. So it was above the drinking water standard. So we tried to sort out how to handle that. We knew there were three discrete fracture zones. There's one shallow around 47 feet. There's one at around 97 feet, and then another deep one at 300, a very large fracture at 311 feet. Doing some research, there was a suspicion that perhaps the arsenic was in the shallow formation, not in the deep formation. So we spent a fair amount of time trying to find someone that could actually put a packer in an 8-inch well. Most drillers have packers for 6-inch wells, but not for an 8-inch well. So took a while to find someone. But what we ended up doing is packing off that upper portion of the well so we could pump only from the bottom fracture to see if the bottom fracture had better water quality. Now, again, the water quality is actually pretty good, except that it has high levels of arsenic. So unfortunately, that part of the exploration wasn't fruitful. In other words, that well has arsenic. The other thing is the deep fracture can only yield probably between 90 and 100 gallons a minute. So there's a lot of water coming out of the shallow fractures and a pretty good amount of water coming from the deep fracture, but probably more water coming out of the shallower fractures. Sue, you had asked a question earlier, I think it was late last week, about the arsenic levels in the deep fracture being a little bit higher than they were in the shallow fractures. Now, you have to recognize that the shallow fractures, that sampling was done using what's called a heat pulse flow meter. So that they use that to identify groundwater flow within the boring, vertical flow, so between fractures. And the two upper fractures were water was draining into the well and flowing vertically downward and out that large fracture. So, but it was only flowing at less than about a gallon a minute. So we took that samples and yes, the arsenic level was at the 45 foot was about 60% of the standard. It was 0.006 round numbers. And the 97 foot one was just a smidge over the standard at 0.0116, 117. So there's arsenic throughout the borehole. But I caution that we pumped the deep fracture harder than we've pumped in the well yet. All right. So we ran that for 8 hours at 100 gallons a minute. And so it's, you'll notice from the table on the second page of the memo that I sent over that the arsenic levels they were increasing with time. So I think we should caution that it's likely that even from the upper fractures that arsenic is going to increase over time. So, so that being said, this well has an estimated yield of around 200 gallons a minute, which is great water. It's a great yield from a rock well. Unfortunately, it does have water quality concerns. It does have arsenic in it. It had no VOC, so no MTBE. Did not have perchlorate in it. Did not have. It has relatively low. Well, it actually has iron manganese from the deep fractures was actually non-detect at the end of the test, but it is in the upper fractures, so we know we'll have to deal with iron and manganese as well. So the yield is great, the quality is subpar, but it is treatable. Arsenic treatment
the quality is treatable, right?
It is, absolutely. So arsenic is treated in much the same way that iron manganese is treated. It's oxidation and filtration. So it's a plant.
With that being said, Peter,
yep.
in your professional opinion, seeing how the arsenic can be treated,
Yep.
and the well that we found yields a lot of water. So in your professional opinion, do you think the town should purchase this piece of property for a well that brings that kind of water out of it?
Well, yes. The short answer is yes.
Yeah.
I do. I mean,
Okay.
I
guess that's what we're looking
if I was
for
in the
tonight,
straits
kind
that
of a little
Charlton is
bit
in,
advisory from you.
yeah. If I was in the straits, the water need circumstances that you guys were in, this would be this would be an excellent opportunity. So yeah,
Fantastic. That's kind of what we're looking for from you,
Yep.
is just some professional guidance as like you said, the water quantity is good, and that's what we need.
yep, the water quantity is good. The site is secure. It's relatively remote from, you have access to the entire zone 1 on the property. I think it's a pretty good location for a well, from a land use standpoint. But other than the fact that it will need treatment, I think it's a great location.
Well, thank you very much, Peter. We appreciate that information, and
You're welcome.
we will be in touch
Okay,
to get more work done over there. All right.
all right, fantastic. Am I done?
Thank you. Yeah, I think so. We're looking. A couple of gentlemen are on the line that own that piece of property, and
Okay.
they were on the agenda for something else tonight. So we wanted you to come talk, so they could hear and we could get your guidance as to, it's a strong move forward, and that we're moving in the right direction, and that, in your professional opinion, it's something that the town should move forward with purchasing, solely based on the amount of water that we're getting out of those wells.
That's an accurate characterization, yes.
And that's what we were looking for.
Okay.
I think they wanted to hear it, and we also wanted to hear it from a professional. So we appreciate that, Peter.
My pleasure.
Thank
All
you.
right, you're welcome. We'll be in touch.
One final question, Peter,
Yes, sir.
for the guys who are selling it. How much of a deduction in the original price should we look at for tonight's negotiation? Based off of the filter. Just
The
kidding.
fact that it needs, that they're selling contaminated water. I shouldn't use that
Yeah.
terminology. Water that needs treatment. I don't, that's a,
Just kidding, Peter. Just
people
kidding.
have
You don't
tried,
have to answer
believe me.
that.
I know,
Don't
people have
answer
tried. But
Thank you, Peter.
you're welcome, guys. Have a great night.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Peter. Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so that was great information. Our 7 o'clock appointment, Curtis Hill Estates, the sewer connection, we're going to also slate that, as he's going to be on the agenda next month also. Seeing how I don't know if anybody's on the line. I'm assuming Dan Prouty and the Chesley boys are on the line. Do you guys have any questions or want to talk about anything?
If, you
All right.
have to, I don't know if they're saying anything, but you need to unmute yourself. If you do.
All right. Hearing nothing from those guys. I think everybody got the answers we were looking for tonight, as far as that goes. So let's move on now to old business. Seeing how there's no new business.
Can I just make,
at the treatment plant.
can
Yes,
I interrupt for a second? There is another gentleman on the on the meeting, and I'm not sure if there's a specific topic he's here for, but he's also muted. Mr. Spiewak, did we touch on any of the subjects that you were here for?
Joe just wants his seat back on the board.
Oh, is that it?
I'm gonna vote you back in, Joe, write you in.
He also is silent.
all right.
All right. Well,
Okay,
let's move on to new business, or old business rather.
okay.
Old business, the gate upgrade at the treatment plant. Go ahead, Sue. You want to take this?
All right,
Or
so
I can take it up to you.
we can tag team it, okay?
All right, go ahead.
All right, so we got 3 quotes for an electric fence, closest to the building. Ranging from 18,000 to 26,000, which, none of the quotes include the electrical work. This would be a keypad entry, opposed to a manual gate with a padlock. This will need, because this is a capital expenditure, it does need to go to town meeting. we have a place for it at the town meeting, but I need to know how you guys want to go with it.
Can we get,
So-
can we get the estimates to include the keypad?
The electrical
So the
work,
keypads are, yeah, so the keypads are included in the estimates. What's not included is the actual running the electric lines. We took kind of a hard look at it. I talked to an electrician. I had an electrician come out and look at, running wires. He hasn't sent me a quote yet, but he said it's going to be upwards of 10,000 just to get the electrical lines out there. And, we're talking about 20,000 just for a gate. In my opinion, I think we should have somebody fix the gate that we have now. And if we do something in the future with a big upgrade at the plant, maybe we'll put in an electric gate at that time. That's my opinion.
All right, excellent. Let's get some quotes on that then.
so if you would like,
Okay.
the three companies that submitted the quotes, I could just reach out to them and say, hey, can we just make what we have better? And take it from there?
Yeah, that sounds great. We need to
Sure,
do something with
wonderful.
the gate, and I don't think we want to spend $40,000 right now to put an electric gate in. So
No,
let's see what they come up with solutions to fix the gate that we have now.
Okay,
All right.
I'm all for that.
All right. Perfect. Moving on, old business, managing director job description.
I'm gonna make a
Russell, go
motion
ahead.
that we accept the managing director job description as written, included in our package this evening.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? Roll call vote, please, Sue.
Mr. McLam,
Aye.
Mr. Jennings,
Aye.
Mr. Cantwell,
Aye.
I would like to make a motion to appoint Sue the managing director.
I'll second that.
Can I? Roll call vote, please, Sue.
Mr. McLam,
Aye.
Mr. Jennings,
Aye.
Mr. Cantwell,
Aye. Right, moving on. Other business unknown at the time of this posting. No other business. Next meeting announcement, April 3rd.
yeah, also, I was looking ahead. So we have April 3rd, and then town election is the first Saturday in May, so why don't we, I'm just thinking ahead for May. We'll meet after the town meeting, so then whoever is on the board, any new members on the board, and then reorganization as well. Does that sound okay?
Sounds perfect.
Let's post the meeting right before it, just in case, and after it.
So you want to have a meeting before and after the election?
Well, I want to post the meeting beforehand. If there's no reason to meet, we won't.
Okay,
But just in case we need to adjust something
well, we
for the
all,
town
Yeah,
meeting.
button something.
yeah, we will, meetings, we always have Vinnie and we always have Bills.
Yeah, I guess more important stuff than that. We can push off that stuff, I think.
Okay. All right, so
So
then,
next meeting will be April 3rd.
yep,
Perfect. How about a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Roll call vote, please, Sue.
Mr. McLam,
Aye.
Mr. Jennings,
Aye.
Mr. Cantwell.
Aye. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Great
Managing
evening.
director have anything for us to sign?